For instance, if the child is still, he's 3 years old, then we want the child to walk, but he can't even sit. Your goal cannot be that the child will be able to walk in 3 months. That's not realistic. Hello and welcome to Reflex Integration Through Play podcast. I'm Kokeb, your host. In this episode, I wanted to talk about the SMART goals in pediatric that I talked about in our previous episode. I just finished recording it and I felt like maybe I need to have one specific on this to break it down to make it really clear. Sometimes when you have information back to back, it just blurs. At least it blurs for me. So in this episode, I wanted to talk about understanding SMART goals in pediatric OT. When it comes to setting effective goals in therapy, SMART, which is SMART, goals are your best friends. They help ensure your goals are clear, they're actionable, trackable, so you can measure real progress as you're working with your client session by session. So it really is your roadmap almost as part of your roadmap. It's not the whole thing, but it's really telling you like you're here now and you're trying to go there. So you want to give yourself a step-by-step location almost on a GPS. You want to say, I'm here, then I want to go there, and I'm going to take a break, I'm going to go there. You can have a clear path to take if you understand where you're going. If you really don't know where you're going, your treatment plan will become vague and you won't get much accomplished with your treatment session. So starting off by having really good SMART goals will be effective. So let's break down what these SMART goals are. S is for specific. You want to focus on a clear skill or behavior. As a client, when a client comes to you, you're going to see, especially when you're doing an assessment, you're going to see multiple areas the child needs to work on. And that can be overwhelming as a therapist because you want to help the child or client. In order for your treatment to be effective, you have to pick like your top 3 or maybe the most top 5. But 3 is a good one to work on because you at least can get them somewhere gradually. So you want to have a specific clear skill or behavior you're targeting. You cannot target everything at once or in each session because your sessions are limited. So have a very specific, clear skill or behavior. An example can be, a skill can be sit upright at the table. Previously, one of the goals that we talked about to be able to sit for a certain amount of time on tabletop activity and specific duration, the child will get to 1 from certain amount of minute, being able to increase in certain amount of minutes. So the specific part in which you're writing your goal would be here as sitting upright at the table. That is specific. That is something you're going to measure. For the M, for the measurable part, how are you going to measure? So you have to, there's so many components that allows the child to sit upright. So is it the time you're concerned about? Is it the posture itself, the tone you're working on? What is it? So make it measurable, something you can actually measure. So that include a way to track it. It can be a number, it can be time, it can be frequency. So for this one, we can say for 10 minutes, you'll be able to sit upright in specific kind of posture of your choice that you want to get for this amount of time. Now that is very specific that I can measure it. And after several weeks of working with the child, I can say he was here, he can do 2 minutes, now he can do 6 minutes or 8 minutes or 10 minutes, right? And A for the SMART goal is achievable, which is make sure it's realistic based on the child's current ability. For instance, if the child is still, he's 3 years old, then we want the child to walk, but he can't even sit. Your goal cannot be that the child will be able to walk in 3 months. That's not realistic. You have to go through the developmental progression. So make it really achievable. Make sure it's realistic based on the child's current ability. And then you find out the current ability. We talked about getting a baseline. In the previous episode, we talked about getting a baseline, meaning you need to find out what can the child do right now. For example, your goal cannot be if the child is not even sitting up right, you can't say the child will walk without first addressing the child will sit. Does that make sense? You want to go through the progression. So make it really realistic. So if they can currently sit for 3 minutes or 2 minutes, you're aiming for, okay, we're going to double that. Well, maybe 6 minutes or maybe triple it, like 9, 10, okay? You don't want to just say in 4 weeks or 2 weeks, I'm going to have them sit from 3 minutes to 30 minutes. Is that really realistic? So you want something that's achievable. When you write this goal, you're saying you can actually deliver this result. And in order to deliver this result, you need to have an treatment intervention plan ready to meet this goal. So if you writing some vague, unrealistic goal without clear plan, don't write this goal. Okay. So be very clear saying like he's able to sit 3 minutes. We're getting them to 6 minutes or 10 minutes. And then your plan, of course, is to have specific treatment plan you're going to have in order to achieve this goal. Make sure you have a clear understanding of the child's baseline. You're building on top of it. And you don't want to make it super low. Like you don't want to say, if the child already sitting for 3 minutes, you're not going to say, I'm going to have the child sit for 5 minutes. The time frame later on is be like 6 months. That's too far off. R is relevant. Tie it to functional needs or daily activity. As OTs, we work on the child's occupation, functional skill. So find out what is the purpose of you being there doing this activity as an occupational therapist, for instance. Tie it to functional need or daily activity. So this will be he'll be able to sit up for this amount of time during tabletop tasks like handwriting, or it can be reading, it can be a home dinner time, or it can be the child will go outside for a restaurant. You can be able to participate in activities, whatever that is, tied to activity, daily living, functional skills, and then set a time frame to reach the goal. You want to set a time frame because as you're measuring, you're not only measuring and tracking the goal, that whether or not they achieve, but you also are tracking whether or not your treatment intervention is effective. So if in 6 weeks nothing has changed, your treatment approach probably needs to change, because whatever goal you set up, you're not able to deliver by giving the intervention you provided. So something is broken there. It can be your intervention, it can be not appropriate, but you're able to constantly change and making sure you're shifting along the way if you have a very specific way of tracking. To review, S is specific, focus on a clear skill or behavior. M is for measurable, includes a way to track it like time, number, or frequency. A is achievable, make sure it's realistic based on the child's current ability. R is for relevant, tie it to functional needs or daily activity. T is time bound, set a time frame for each goal so you can track it. As possible, you're going to meet if you have a good, clear goal based on developmental progression, and then you have a clear treatment plan that delivers this. It might be that it doesn't have to take even 6 weeks. It might be that in 4 weeks, as you're doing your intervention, the child already met the goal. So now way you can go to the next goal. Now you can go to the next level of development, okay? So for the full example of this SMART goal, looks like within 6 weeks, the child will sit upright for 10 minutes during tabletop task with no more than one prompt to support or participate in a classroom activity. So now you have everything that you want, right? So it's in 6 weeks, the skills to be set upright, the duration is going to be 10 minutes, and when it's during tabletop task, and then the no more than like one prompt or a visual cue, or you can also add if the child needs some kind of adaptive equipment, you can add that too. And then that can be something you implement. That's a realistic goal you're setting. You're not just assuming the child will do something without some kind of support. Here is just a prompt. It can be a reminder you give them, but depending on the child, it will change. And then to support participation in the classroom. So this is to help with his focus, attention, and being able to participate in social skills. All these things, now you have everything in one goal. So you'd be able to measure clearly. So this helps you from avoiding vague goals and would get you nowhere when you have vague goals, because your treatment plans will become vague too and not have a clear direction for you to take. I just wanted to come here today and do a very quick review on the episode I recorded earlier, because I think it's really important to review what a SMART goal is. Every time you write a goal, just look at it. Can I measure it, track it? And especially one great way in knowing your goals are clear, if another therapist, let's say you're sick and somebody else is covering you, if they can pick up your goals and your the file and be able to understand, oh, okay, so-and-so is working on clearly on this goal. And if they can understand it, carry it over, that's a great goal, especially if you're writing IEPs, right? So your information is being shared with a lot of teams and you want it to be relevant. Ideally, you want to write a goal that is relevant in different school settings and at home. So it makes sense to them and it means something for them, the goals that you're working on. Okay, so I hope this is helpful. Thank you for joining this episode. If you are a therapist, a pediatric therapist, you want to learn more, RITP is really a great program. We have a great framework that helps pediatric therapists to create a treatment plan that is trackable, measurable, and repeatable, something that you can use from start to finish if that is something you want to learn. Look for the link below somewhere here and learn more. And in the meantime, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in another episode.